Thank you guys for showing up. Boy, did I goof up some videos today. I accidentally posted a clip instead of a whole video, so I had to remove that. And I got my lines crossed with my editor, Jose. The second episode came so late. I'm sorry, guys. We are still doing 4 videos. They're going to be late. So look for 4 videos today. You go to the channel and just look under videos. Thank you guys for watching Doug In Exile. This is just a summary, the wrap up of the day with all of Trump's wins, a lot of financial stuff. And now you'll see for the first time Harmeet Dillon talking about election integrity. Who's been waiting for election integrity? Where they start requiring voter ID. They don't allow you to turn in your ballot 2 weeks late. There's more. Trump got Apple Glass to be made here in Kentucky, bringing over $100 billion worth of jobs here. Here's Harmeet Dillon to start us off. We'll get through all of it. To the Quad Club, thank you for watching. Welcome to you especially. Kick off your shoes. You can put them up on the counter. You're allowed. Quad Club, for people to watch all 4 videos all the way through. Leave a comment, subscribe. Let's go.
Our constitutional duty is to protect the right to vote for all Americans. 60 years ago, Congress passed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to confront the brutal reality that too many Americans were being denied their rightful access to the ballot. The Voting Rights Act came at a critical time in our nation's history and was the catalyst of necessary change. This landmark law removed barriers to voting. It outlawed poll taxes and literacy tests and gave the federal government the tools to stop discriminatory barriers at the ballot box. Today, under the leadership of President Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi, this Civil Rights Division is continuing to protect equal and transparent ballot access with vigilance and resolve. We are investigating violations of federal voting laws. We're ensuring that all 50 states have and continue to have clean voter rolls.
So this is just like that old Civil Rights Act where they were requiring literacy tests it was all done in the South by Democrats to keep blacks from voting. Well, now something similar is happening because the blacks, they were citizens. They had a right to be represented by a vote and by their government. Well, today our votes are being offset by a bunch of illegal votes. So that's no different than stealing a vote from me by offsetting it with a criminal who shouldn't be voting. You cancel out my vote. You might as well be pulling out, sicking the dogs on me when I come to a ballot box or turning the fire hose on me.
We are challenging efforts to suppress or dilute the vote. We are attacking illegal race-based gerrymandering, and we are protecting ballot access for all Americans. We have sued jurisdictions such as North Carolina for not registering voters properly by first verifying their eligibility. We have notified Texas of grave concerns about congressional districts drawn with racial motivations, and we are suing—
Which is the only reason why Jasmine Crockett won in Texas.
—other jurisdictions where there is evidence of ineligible voters on their voter rolls. Our job is to make it easier to vote and harder to cheat. On this anniversary, we honor the Voting Rights Act, not just by remembering it, but by enforcing it for all Americans. And that's my promise to you.
Easier to vote and harder to cheat. And now you see why Democrats say, oh, they're bringing out Jim Crow again. But wait, here's the best news. Look at this. So here's breaking. Apple just announced they will be making all Apple phone and watch screens in Kentucky, bringing back jobs from overseas. Huge news. And here's Sean Farash. He does this great imitation of Trump. But he said, but they told me tariffs didn't work. I thought we were too dumb to manufacture things in America, that we could never outbid China. What happened to the fiscal, all those fiscal, the neocons? They're all saying like we shouldn't bring back slave type manufacturing here to America. We're better than that. We should be making fine art and video games and high-end computer chips, but not manufacture glass. You're going to see later in this video why we were exposing ourselves incredibly vulnerable because we couldn't build our own nukes, drones, military weapons without going to an enemy like China and have them do our manufacturing of our chips for us, where they put in spyware that sent data back to China. Here's the rest of the article. Breaking news: Apple investing $2.5 billion in Corning to make 100% of iPhone and Apple Watch glass at Corning's Harrodsburg, Kentucky plant. By the way, the reason why we lost the Apple glass in the first place, I remember Rush Limbaugh covering this back when he was alive, back in 2007 or 2008. People dropped their iPhone and the glass just shattered like that. And they needed this new glass made that was so high end and tough. It was called Gorilla Glass, and only China could make it. We couldn't innovate. So Apple had no other choice but to send their iPhones over to China, put them on it to be able to roll out their phones to market. Rush Limbaugh talked about that. Well, now they're bringing the glass back after 20 years to America in Kentucky. Thank you, Donald Trump, for putting the pressure on these fake rhinos that said, we can't go to a neocon. We can't. I'm going to call out a name because David Bahnsen, I hear him all the time on Commentary Magazine with John Podhorse. They bring him in because Trump haters and people that don't like Trump, they bring him to try and show how Trump's tariffs are actually damaging the economy, and they're rooting against him and going, just wait till next year. You'll see the tariffs didn't work after they predicted it wouldn't work last month. And that didn't work. And the stock market keeps going up. And AI and Bitcoin are going to create new markets. They were also anti-Bitcoin, by the way, saying it's fake money. It is the future of money. And now they're going like manufacturing back here and tariffs won't work. These are driving jobs back home. The Harrodsburg facility will feature a large-scale smartphone glass production line, which is expected to increase Corning's workforce in Kentucky by 50%. Apple also plans to create 20,000 new jobs in the U.S. over the next 4 years, or until a Democrat gets elected, and then they'll be running all their jobs back overseas to not get punished by Democrats, primarily in areas such as research and development and engineering. This is huge. Thank you, Donald Trump. And more on Donald Trump. Here's more on the economy, where 82% of S&P 500 companies beat earnings estimates this quarter. 82%. Because the naysayers lied to you about tariffs and said it was going to crater. So they all guessed low. They guessed everything would fail. They don't believe in Trump. They're rooting against Trump.
Here's a look at earnings expectations. What a chart this is. It's been a very strong quarter despite tariff uncertainty, with 82% of S&P 500 companies beating estimates so far. That's the highest rate since 2021.
Highest rate since 2021. We're blowing it up, my friends. Trump's economy is doing great. Now, here's Brendan Carr with more important news. The FCC and our partner agencies across government are working to crack down on the scourge of illegal robocalls. Now, you guys can't tell me this is unpopular with Is there a Democrat in the world that wants robocalls? Do they hate Trump so much that when Brandon Carr, the head of the FCC, whom we love, says we're going to crack down on robocalls, is MSNBC going to go, Trump's trying to kill the robocall market? Trump's targeting people with thick Indian accents who do robocalls. It always goes boop. You always hear the long pause. Then boop. Sir, can I help you with help you design things? Can I help you sell your property? Giant scam centers. It's time to shut these down. Today, we prohibited 185 voice service providers from connecting to U.S. networks because they have failed to comply with our robocall mitigation rules. Trump, this one I didn't even see. He didn't even run on this. Trump could have run on this one alone and won the election against Kamala. I'm going to end robocalls. I get calls all the time. Hello, my friend. I'd like to help you design website. I go, what's your name? My name is Brian Smith. I go, wait, what was the name that you were born with? And then they say something you can't pronounce. And no, that's not racist. That is actually true. I actually had a guy tell me he was Brian Smith, and he told me his real name with a thick Indian accent and could not tell me, I could not pronounce his name. However, I repeated the name. It was like Ramaswamy Guptek, and furniture started floating around the room by itself, and an apparition appeared in front of me. Wait, here's Senator Schmidt on more incredible Trump good news. Nearly half of our cars, 80% of our pharmaceuticals, almost 90% of the chips we need for everything from phones to fighter jets are made in foreign countries. Neocons, free traders, commentary magazine, the editors, we have to bring some manufacturing here. And I don't just mean weapons grade military and pharmaceuticals. The idea that furniture companies get a pass on the same principle, there's no reason not to bring it back. We can do it. If there aren't enough people, we'll build the robots to build it, but we can do it. We just need the will. Instead of always undercutting our labor with slave labor, Uyghurs that are having organ harvested in China, and everyone here is going like, oh, that's okay. You know, we'll underpay slave labor in another country that we would never allow here. We'll pay for it there, but we won't allow it here on principle. Here, it's the founders and the Constitution. And the founders said you should never allow child slave labor here. All men are created equal. Unless they're in China, they're not created equal. Then pay for Uyghur organ harvesting slave labor over there. If that's Bill Buckley's legacy, you guys are living a lie. You're not conservative, not fiscally conservative, not respectful of the Constitution, not respectful of being made in the image of God, life, liberty, pursuit of all men, all men, all men, all men are created equal. All of them, even in other countries.
Half our cars are built overseas. 80% of our pharmaceuticals are made overseas. 90% of our chips, high-end chips, are made overseas. It doesn't.
And chips are in everything, guys. They're in your cars, phones, drones, destroyers, Trump Space Force, all of your computers, all of our phone centers. 90% of the chips are made in China. Our enemy. We're talking about banning TikTok because it's a spy device. We have so many, every chip is a potential spy device sending information back. Every chip is a TikTok going into your tanks and destroyers.
Need to be that way. And I think we're at a time where we can question a lot of the assumptions that people have taken for granted. You don't need to have all these jobs go somewhere else. We can do the work here. And I think actually in the advances in technology and sort of advanced manufacturing are going to make that more real and provide opportunities for real Americans to onshore that, those kind of jobs. And look, again,
onshore them. David Bahnsen, John Podhoretz at Commentary Magazine, the editors. It's 2025. The idea that Americans can't manufacture something, or it really needs to be homespun in India by people who live in mud. 12-year-olds need to hand loom our fabrics. Wrong. I don't mind giving them charity. Don't give them our jobs. We'll keep our jobs here. You know what? We'll pay a fair wage to loom fabric with robots if you have to. Pick avocados with robots if you have to. And we'll have American citizens manage the robots. I don't care. The idea that this whole don't. You're all pretending they're all going like, we're pro-Reagan. No, you're not. You're anti-Reagan. Reagan was can do. We can do it. Or Kennedy. We'll go to the moon because we can. We must. We can. And I slept with my intern.
These trade deals were put in place decades ago. I can't actually believe it's taken this long for a president to take this on, but let's just take the last 30 years. We've been
It's because Trump has balls. You didn't need a president with a brain. You need a president with balls. That's why it took this long.
Battled with these deals that we've been ripped off. We don't have access to markets.
Speaking of balls, hold on one second. I'm not done with the balls thing. Planned Parenthood just had to shut down all their facilities in Louisiana. Trump, you know why? Because of Trump. Trump is not the most pro-life president. In fact, he's barely even pro-life. So how did we get Planned Parenthood shut down under him? It's because he had balls. It doesn't matter how pure your beliefs are if you don't have the real world balls to fight for them. That's what shut down Planned Parenthood. It wasn't Trump's idea. Someone's coming in with their pure ideology going, Trump's not a constitutionist. He's not a pure enough ideology. See what they're saying? In principle, tariffs don't work. He's being disrespectful. He's overstepping his boundaries on taxes. It just takes balls. And suddenly our glass can be manufactured here. Car companies move back here. It's almost like it's magic. It takes balls. That's why he's going, I don't know why it didn't take the last couple of minutes. It's been way too long. You know why? Because we've been electing Republicans and even Christians with no balls. It's also true for your church, my friends. If your church is going woke and turning into a giant feminist organization with a big screen and feel-good sermons instead of preaching the word, it's because we've been taught that having balls is evil.
Tariffs, or there are barriers in place that send our goods back or our products back. But President Trump has said we're not doing that anymore. And so, on Liberation Day, he makes this announcement, and he's methodically now gone through, whether it's with the EU or other countries, and said, we're going to have a renegotiation of this. And the American people are going to benefit from it. So all these people who thought this was totally taboo, and the experts have gotten this wrong 1,000 times already. So not only do we have more access to markets, and not only do we have fair trade deals, but also look at the investment that's happening. I mean, trillions of dollars.
Trillions of dollars they did not predict. The experts were wrong. They were living in an old paradigm under a low ceiling. I hate non-creative people that can't think outside of the box. Well, guess who's outside of the box? Trump, the bull in the china shop, the bull you did not see coming. They thought he was an idiot. They thought he was an oaf. Hey, and he might be an idiot and an oaf. He's still better than you. Experts suck. Experts are only experts in books, getting grades and lying to people to get grants and securing power in office. That's all an expert is good at. They can't build a house. They can't drive a screw. They can't do what needs to be done. Think creative with duct tape and baling wire like Grandpa did. All these experts were killing us. The tradition in the Republican Party was killing us. The rhino tradition of powdered wigs and beauty marks and our little snuff. We don't act that way at the country club. At the Wasp Club, where we play tennis with Buffy and Thurston Howell III, that was the old way. You're done, country club. You're done, Boehner, Paul Ryan, McCain, Dole. It's done. You've been voted out of office. Your ways have been voted out of office. Trump's ways: get some balls, cut the boxing gloves off. They are punching you in the face with a closed open fist. Cut your glove off and pull it off, make a fist and go. It is time. Your rules, quit telling me about rules and tradition and experts. And we never did it that way before. And Trump is outside of the box. Who can talk this way? He stood on the roof of the White House, Lovey. That's so gauche. Pour me another tea. I need another crumpet. Where's my caviar? Honey, water the lawn with Perrier. Have the Mexicans water our lawn with Perrier, honey. The lawn is turning dry.
Mercedes-Benz wants to build their stuff here. NVIDIA wants to build their stuff here. I mean, all this manufacturing, because they made the decision like, you know what? It's actually a better deal for us to manufacture in the United States of America. And oh, by the way, we have 40% of all the consumers in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, all the consumer spending is here. So,
whoa, yeah, we're real good at buying, but you can't make anything? We're buying everything? Hey, look, pay someone to pick avocados for $70,000 a year and watch your workforce blow up. We're paying for everything already. We're rich. Why not? We can, I don't mean forced wages by the state. I mean, the free market. When you go and you find that an avocado is $18 because you have to pay someone a salary, maybe that's the fair market price. Instead of paying slave laborers, Uyghurs. Oregon harvested 12-year-old Uyghurs to build our stuff for us. Slave laborers in China. And little black kids, 12-year-olds, digging cobalt out of mines in Africa, and uranium and lithium and diamonds out of their mines with mud living on them. We're like, we would never tolerate that here, but we'll pay for it over there. If that's Buckley's legacy, Buckley can go to hell.
So we've never had a president that's used that kind of leverage, that's gone to say, oh, you want to have your products be able to sold to 40% of all the consumer spending that exists in the world? Well, guess what? We need to be treated fairly in your market.
Yeah, we need to be treated fairly in your market. It's time that we start swinging our big economy dong around. To the Quad Club, thank you for tolerating me. I'm a little spicy when we start talking about economics. I really hate people that cannot think outside of the box. I hate conformists who just go along because it's always been that way, and they'll repeat the same wrong thing no matter how wrong it is, and keep losing ground to satanic, Marxist, pagan Democrats. Are you tired of losing? I kind of like winning. And no, Trump, I'm not tired of winning yet. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.